TB&J! TB&J! TB&J!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Across from me is Troy Brittingham.
I have a feeling this is going to be a goofy one. I feel like this might be a train wreck.
I'm Jeff Ackerman. And to my right is Chris Carroll. Jesus Christ. And we got D, as always. Hey, buddy.
I could smell that over the PA. Hi, Jeff Ackerman.
Like,
good to have you.
Blitz.
Burping into the mic is very bad pot.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jeez, I could.
If
I
we
could
hadn't
smell
mentioned
okay.
it again, I was going to
literally
edit it out.
anyone who was going to watch this, we've already dissuaded. So
We watched
Free Guy. We're gonna watch
starring
Free Guy.
Ryan Reynolds. We watched Free Guy starring Ryan Reynolds and written by, that would be good information to have the tip of my tongue, written by Matt Lieberman and
Why would
directed
you
by
mention
Sean
it,
Levy. I've never heard of either of those people before in my life.
Are you kidding me? Sean Levy is Stranger Things. That's why there's so much Stranger Things alum in this.
Oh, you know what? He's also Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, Night at the Museum
You're
series.
a big fat liar. Oh.
Oh, okay. Well,
He's
that's...
calling you
I
fat.
see. Now I see what you said. Never mind.
Yeah. Matt Lieberman also wrote the screenplay for Scoob, Playing with Fire, the new Addams Family movie, The Christmas Chronicles, and the upcoming movie Rumble.
Wow, those are all bangers, aren't they?
I mean, Free Guy's pretty good.
Free Guy's good.
Spoiler alert, we really liked... first of all, Troy, your opinion of the movie. Good, bad, indifferent?
I am more positive than I am negative.
That wasn't an option, Troy. Good, bad, and different.
Indifferent. Even though
Good.
that's not true. No, I liked it.
Would you watch it again?
Yes.
Okay, Chris, how do you feel about it?
I liked it. I could end this movie in 5 minutes.
How?
Okay, so Steve Harrington, whose character's name I can't remember, he works at the fucking company. He has access to dev tools. He can literally find the fucking plot of this movie in 5 minutes.
Who's Steve Harrington?
But he doesn't. But he
the kid
doesn't.
from
Do,
Stranger
Steve
Things, I don't remember his
Harrington. You're so bad.
Oh, you called
watch
him
Stranger
from
Things.
Stranger
I'm gonna make
Things.
you watch Stranger Things.
Keys was his name in the movie.
Joe Keery. Joe
Keery
Keeley.
is the actor's
Joe.
name.
Yeah, Keery.
He has
yeah, he's
access
good.
to
I
dev
like.
tools. We see him use them.
Uh-huh.
They don't need fucking Ryan Reynolds to go across the Rainbow Bridge at the
No,
end.
listen.
Steel Bridge.
Shut up. Shut up.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love this
And
movie.
shut
It was
up.
a blast.
No, I don't. Yeah.
How'd you
I
feel about
feel
it,
like there was
Dave?
a lot of. I really enjoyed this. Now I have to say, like, I went in with like base expectations, like great, just the perfect level of expectation for this was. Lil D wanted to see it, and we all went, and I was like, he frickin' was freaking out during this movie. He knew so many things that I wasn't getting whatsoever,
he
but
did.
like. But there were just so many fun things. It was kind of, I really loved all the Stranger Things alum in there. It really felt, I like seeing Joe Keery. I like to see the main actors and I liked how that storyline played out. I wasn't kind of like waiting for them to be over to get to the other stuff. Like I kind of, I bought the whole world. It was a lot of fun. It was surprisingly fun, and I absolutely. Fanboy cheered a bit when Captain America's shield and the Avengers music rises.
That got a visceral
Spoiler
laugh
alert!
from me.
Spoiler
That is
alert!
attest
Sorry.
Yeah, that was
Sorry.
That was absolutely bonkers seeing that, and then seeing
That
fucking
was
Chris Evans have a
Chris Evans, yeah, great.
cameo.
Yeah,
was
spoilers all
amazing.
around, by the way.
There are a couple things I do want to touch on in this movie as we come to them, but I do want to talk about the cameos, and I want to talk about Antoine's wardrobe especially. I made notes in my phone during the movie.
Cake is in this movie.
Mhm.
So, first of all, cast. Ryan Reynolds plays Guy, the main character. He's in every single trailer. And then Jodie Comer.
Wait, is he the
plays-
free guy? Wait a minute, I just got that. I
Oh
just
my
got.
gosh.
No, I'm kidding.
Jodie Comer plays the female main character that we've seen in every trailer for the last year and a half. Her name is Millie Rusk, a.k.a. Molotov Girl. And then fucking Lil Ray is in this movie, too, as the best
He's
friend.
great.
I think, is Lil Ray, like, the next Cake? like everything he's in. I
Wait
love
a minute.
him.
I literally don't know who Lil Ray is, and I just assumed he was a no-name actor that was hired because the role called for a what's his name type. Who's the small guy from the hangs up the rock?
Oh, Kevin Hart.
From Kevin Hart type. I figured
He
they wrote the
seems
role
to
for
be
Kevin
like-
Hart, and then he passed on it or couldn't do it, and then we got
I
Lil
will
something.
admit,
His name's
he
Lil
does-
something.
He kind of comes off as like a Wish.com version of Kevin Hart.
I'm not saying that he is that in other roles or anything else. But I'm saying that like this role seems like
So
tailor
here's-
made for Kevin Hart.
Here is my
But it clearly looks too small for Kevin Hart now. Like,
yes,
that's what I think it is.
absolutely, and I will admit, like, he does play up to that in this role, but he was also one of the announcers in Space Jam 2, which is
Here's the
where
thing: we don't need two of these guys. Is what I'm saying.
And
This is
before
what
that,
this is what I'm telling you.
Oh no.
And before that,
who let
he
in
was
Mr. Hollywood?
he was the best friend.
He was Rod.
He was the best friend in Get Out. So he was in a very dramatic role, even though he still was the comedic relief. He was very much a more dramatic actor in that film.
I think that's too big of a
I
gap
put him
to
in
keep.
Get Out. I hope he could go to more dramatic roles, and here we are again.
Apparently, he was the star of The Carmichael Show, which was a sitcom on NBC for 2 years, from 2015 to 2017. Flew
Is
under
that the one
my
where the
radar.
kid turns into a car? He's Carmichael.
You really got Troy there. Jesus, he just. Troy, are you
Yeah, I
okay?
remember that one. I greenlit that one myself.
Thank you,
But
Mr. Showbiz.
they thought I was crazy. I was just coked up.
How does Jesus
How many
Christ.
seasons did Carmichael get?
I can't remember. I was on coke the entire
4
time.
season tires.
Easily. Easily.
All season rubber tires.
What type
been
of
a
car
tough couple
was he?
months. I mean, we changed it. See, I didn't care what they used. I was like, that's cool. He turns into that now.
Did you have like a brand deal with any of the major?
I know there was a Ferrari, there was a Lamborghini, just whatever the fuck I was in.
Whatever the fuck I was in. That's that's so on brand, Mr. Showbiz. Thank you for
Who
for
was
gracing us
who
with
was
your knowledge.
Michael?
You're welcome.
Who did
I gotta
you
get out
play
of here,
Michael?
boys.
We just said it was Lil Ray. He
Troy,
was-
your
Oh.
questions are meaningless to me. Goodbye.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'm sorry to
Hey, yeah,
bother you and
hey.
waste your time, Mr. Showbiz.
Anyway,
What-
so back to my point about the cast. Lil Ray is the best friend, whose name is Buddy, which is just hilarious. And then we have Joe Keery from Stranger Things playing Keys in the real world, and also Taika Waititi is Antoine, the bad guy.
Also known as
And,
Cake in the
also known
Troy
as Cake.
and
in everything.
He's
the
just
Troy.
so brilliant.
Wait,
I gotta say his
The- in-
portrayal
in the
of
TV
like
and-
a main manager of a producing company, spot on.
Yeah, it's kind of what I imagined Activision to be.
Yeah,
Antoine is just a cartoon character.
He did.
yeah.
a
Except
bunch
the
of
cartoon character's also reality.
He did a bunch of extensive research. He hung out at Blizzard Activision for a
Ooh.
while.
He is Taika
He toned it down a
Waititi.
bit and then did this.
Well, I love that. By the way, just in case anybody doesn't understand a Cake reference, because it's a non-series show, we have a couple different people that are Cake because they're in everything, just like how
They're
we
in
stated
everything and
meme
they're always
reference.
good.
The internet used to be full of cake, as in like you thought you were looking at a computer, but then someone put a knife into it, and they were like, "Look, it was actually cake." So
Yeah,
Oh,
we're-
yeah.
long
I
We're,
dead
we're
reference.
basing it off of very old dead
We-
memes now. but
yeah, we're
Which is just
yeah,
on brand for us.
This is what
We're
I want to make sure
appropriating.
people understand. They're like, "What the fuck are they? Are they on masculine? Like, what is cake?" Anyway, they're cake.
there can be a masculine cake. What if you have like a cake shaped like a strong like bicep?
Isn't
Um,
cake.
I will. One other little tidbit, like top of the info before we get into the
Yep.
heavy nitty gritty plot. This film had a budget of about 100 to 125 million. So
that a lot
far,
or a
it's made
little?
about 65,
Mm.
which is kind of disappointing.
No, that's disappointing, right?
Which is really
Wow,
disappointing
for
'cause
that is disappointing because it's really
it's a really solid
it's
movie.
super good.
But with the rise,
They've
of
already
new
greenlit a sequel,
variants-
though. They've already
Yes.
greenlit this. I thought they did a
Disney
sequel,
has
though.
already
Okay.
asked Ryan Reynolds to
Interesting.
to be in a sequel, and he
Well,
hasn't
now-
said publicly.
For your guy.
Free
By
your guy.
If
No,
that's
no.
not the
What is?
title.
If
If that's
Two
not the
free,
title, they're
two
doing
guy?
it wrong.
2 free, 2 guy.
Two free, two guy.
And then they have the finale.
guy.
Two
Free
free, two
guy.
guys. To free two guys. to
free,
two
two guys.
free. To free two guys. That's
hey,
good.
that's that,
How
that's a
to like
sentence.
to be or not to be, like to free two guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Two
no, but
free,
here's the
two
thing.
But
guys.
so this is disappointing because the movie was supposed to come out last year, but then COVID happened, so it got pushed back a year. and now
Why?
it's
What
still
happened? Wait, what's?
COVID.
Oh, COVID-19. Okay.
COVID-19. Yeah. Sequel to COVID-18.
COVID Cobain.
COVID Cobain.
Taika Waititi now makes sense the Deadpool and Rock Guy trailer or Krog trailer, Korg trailer. That's what it is. Because that he was in. I didn't realize Taika Waititi was in the movie, right? So I didn't.
Yep.
How about
I was reading an article about this earlier. I believe it was Entertainment Weekly that said that they believe the rise of the Delta variant as well as the Lambda variant, which is a little lesser known and lesser of an issue here in the States, has really hindered the movie theater industry as they're trying to recover. So while movies are coming out again, people are still very hesitant to go back into these giant boxes where we're all sharing the same air.
You know, this could be good because these could kind of have like a cult feel to them. Like, they're movies that are, if they're good enough, right, like are gonna be popular, right? Like, and how often
kind of
these
like
are like
Pulp
a cult
Fiction,
movie.
where it didn't have that great of a reception theatrically, but like everybody knows it now.
Did it? I don't think that's true.
I thought Pulp Fiction wasn't. I could be mistaken.
No,
I'm
I think
probably
you're
definitely
mistaken.
mistaken. Actually,
Yeah,
when
definitely
I say it out
mistaken,
loud.
probably.
I'll
So
edit this out,
anyway,
make myself look better.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
You can never look
so
better.
This kind of has like an indie feel to it, where maybe like they had they could get like some
Because of the indie
kind
developers.
of cred. Well, just because of like the fact that it's a good movie, but not a lot of people saw it in the theater, or like so it kind of has this cred. It's like, oh, you didn't even see it, like. How often does that happen? Whereas if a movie's like pretty good, I don't know. Am I wrong here? Are there a lot of like movies that kind of get that cult status after the fact as much anymore? I feel like,
no,
especially
Troy,
for an action
off
movie.
the top of your head, I bet you $1 million. Princess Bride, wasn't that not received
Never
very
heard
well?
of it.
Yeah, but that's
Princess
Yeah,
also
no,
not.
Princess Bride came out.
It's also
and was
not
referred
modern.
To as
I'm
the
thinking
worst
like
movie ever
post
made.
2000.
Post 2000.
Let's say post 9/11 as we're approaching the 20th.
The 20-year anniversary of 9/11. I don't really
Hey guys, does it feel like they won?
ask
yes,
the
yes.
Afghani president.
Podcast.
Ask the Afghani president. Oh wait.
Fun world news.
Anyway, I was trying to segue.
Yeah, I know you were. I can't think of any films made post 2000 that were like
That-
not very well received that
that are
became
cult,
cult
right.
hits.
Is there
I know that
enough time to have known that yet?
that's another thing.
Yeah.
I
20
would say early
years?
2000s.
I mean,
for
early
sure,
2000s,
if something
sure.
came out.
Well, but nothing that
I mean,
springs to mind, right?
just-
Except
just-
maybe like the Room, but like I don't know what the hell even
Well,
that
The
is.
Room is-
The rooms for different
Something on
reasons.
side.
The Room is
right.
beloved
That's what I'm
because it's
saying. Is like
terrible.
you have the internet age, and it kind of eats up that like indie stuff happens there. It doesn't happen in a theater. You
You're
know,
right.
like it
Maybe
doesn't-
Blair Witch
and
was that?
No,
We're
that was
okay. No, that actually had a huge opening because of their
I
marketing.
feel like somebody's probably
guerrilla
done more
marketing.
research on this and probably have it listed
100% they
online.
have, but hey, maybe our listeners could write in with the links. Anyway, so
What just happened
What?
to you? Are you okay?
I don't know. I was possessed by a guy. So I can't do the transition back. So no, but Free Guy. Let's get into I guess some of this because I think we have enough background on it. Maybe.
Donnie Darko, 2002. Apparently, people considered that kind of a box office flop, and that's
Yeah,
got a huge
still
cult
seems like
following
of a
now.
still seems like a different era.
Office Space,
Also-
2005.
Also, in the
Office
wake
Space, yeah.
of, also probably a movie that's in the wake of 9/11, which also hit the industry pretty hard.
Did 9/11 hit the movie industry hard? I wasn't aware.
You weren't sure if you were allowed to laugh or do fun things. There was like
Okay.
a good.
Apparently, Big Lebowski only made $2 million more than its budget, so that's considered a flop on the books. Willy Wonka, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay,
Is
Oh,
the-
the-
no one
the
wants to hear
giant-
this. The Free Guy stuff is what they came for. Let's do the Free Guy stuff.
yeah. The Free Guy stuff's what they
So
came
there's this guy,
So
and
there's this
he's
guy.
loving
His name
his
is
life.
Guy.
He's pretty free.
But here's the thing, he's not. Do.
But he
So,
loves his life.
From the top. So, Free City is an open-world video game developed by Tsunami Games. Its code was stolen from a game called Life Itself, developed by main characters Keys McKee and Millie Rusk. And it was turned into Free City. by the head developer Antoine, which is spelled Antwan. I looked this up 4 different times. It's not spelled with an O-I-N-E like every other fucking Antoine in the world. Whatever. Be an asshole.
He's a combination of Ant-Man and Obi-Wan.
Exactly. Good job. Keyes has since taken a job at Tsunami, doing very menial tasks, basically customer relations, while Millie spends her time within Free City looking for evidence of the stolen code because she has a lawsuit against Antoine, and she's trying to prove he stole their code to make his game. In the game, we meet Guy, Ryan Reynolds. He is a non-playable character, or an NPC, who works as a bank teller and spends time with his best
Pronounced
friend
Nipuk.
Buddy. What?
It's pronounced Nipuk.
Shut up. Who spends time with his best
That's
friend
his
Buddy,
native name.
unaware that his world is a video game. So to him, robberies and gun violence and stabbings, they just happen every day, and it's just, life. And everybody takes it with a smile, and that's just how their world is. One day, he encounters Molotov Girl, which happens right after he's telling Buddy about his dream girl, and he's describing this girl down to her favorite song, and it matches this woman who walks down the street perfectly. And it just stuns Guy completely, and it makes it's what frees him from his programming and allows him to start becoming an individual, because he talks to her and says something that isn't scripted, and she's just like, "Huh, that's new." And
Can I stop us right here real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Just because this is, by the way, you're going kind of right through it, right? Like we're not
No,
doing
I'm,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
quick
I'm just
summary
going right
and
through
then
it. So stop
okay.
me whenever
So,
it comes up.
So this is interesting because this is kind of as we find out the kind of moment and how this works, because just to kind of follow the internal storyline as best we can, he writes this script for the game life itself, which is like its own interesting premise to be like where this movie goes, because there's a lot of levels of which I think to see this movie, whether it's like on the relationship side, on the AI side, on the gaming industry side, like just to look at this kind of story thematically, which is I think what it makes it. Yeah,
But it
because
does
it's
it
an
well.
action movie at its heart, and I think it does a lot of things well enough to work on those levels. But I don't know how well they all interconnect. But it's interesting that they kind of talk about like free will and life and the meaning of life and like the whether or not it's worth it, even if it's just an illusion. Like they touch on a lot of really interesting things in a heartfelt way and make it all work as an action movie that's fun for the whole family. And I was like, all right, okay. I think you did all the things that I need a movie to do for escapism and for life affirming kind of like drama. Like it was good. So that was a tough balance I think they've met. But it's interesting, I think, that like the moment that they retcon of him getting sentience is based on his affections that he kind of like for her that he for the other girl that he wrote into it. So when they match up, it like triggers some kind of like, sentient response. Whereas in comparison to anyone who's like, a sci-fi Westworld fan, where it's like the premise, I think, of that show is that pain and trauma and our pains, not our passions, are what kind of like give us the sentience in life, is what give us like our memories. Like, so
Which
the way
continually makes me worried for the future. I just don't want AI to ever exist.
Well, right, which is where like I think there's a lot of
I
things
want
in this
them to
movie. They're
exist
just
and I
like,
want them to
we
wipe
totally
us out.
created AI, yeah, and they're totally happy living
We've
inside
had it too
their
good
programming.
for too long.
Chris looking to bring a little bit more nihilism to this podcast.
I
gonna
like the
create
idea that like
Skynet.
we're just like, listen, if we just give the AI perfectly super happy awesome lives, we'll be fine. Just don't give the AI
just need to
lives
make
where
them
we
all
shoot
Ryan
them to
Reynolds.
death, which is not a bad
Don't
premise.
let them onto Reddit.
Right, which is not the worst premise to be like, hey, maybe just don't give these people like, don't like introduce them to BS. Be like, hey, what's up, fuckface? Boom, I'm real, you're not. Like, which is the kind of other thing where it's like, why are all games this kind of way? Why do we treat the non-playable characters as like just fodder for us to deal with to like let out tensions? And it's like, how would we feel if that was us? Why not let them live and let live? Is a cool little thing to this. But I stopped you only because I think that like that moment is kind of where the central idea lies. That like
No, you're absolutely
it's
correct.
the passions that make AI, and I think that was like an interesting take on it. That was one of the elements that I think was newer to this
Absolutely.
genre.
And you did bring up something that I probably should touch on because I don't think it gets touched on in this summary, where the game that Keyes and Millie had created together called Life Itself was about you didn't play it so much as you observed it, and they wrote all this code to interact with itself and just create this ever-evolving world of creatures and environments that would just keep progressing and transforming. And it kind of, in not as many words, said this was going to be an artificially intelligent thing, but they didn't go out and directly say it yet that way.
It's like a game of Civilization, except you pit all the computers against each other, and then Gandhi nukes everyone.
So I'm wondering if the sequel is like their Empire Strikes Back, where it's like in the world, like say you like how do you observe it? Are you have an
AI
avatar?
becomes violent
Can
towards
you
itself.
are you essentially more like a non-playable character where you kind of like observe it? Are you a ghost? Or are you like kind of like a nonsense player character that they could fucking kill?
That's a
You
good.
see one of these guys, like some caterpillar monster, be like, "Oh, I don't fucking like you," and it just starts killing.
That's a really good
Like
point.
it could get real dark real quick,
Because
and I wouldn't be surprised if it did go there because
that is a good point. But in the movie, we get to watch like the interview that was done between Millie and Keyes talking about their game, and they say that it got bought by Tsunami, run by Antoine, and he was gonna help turn it into the fully fledged project. And then we learn it never did. He shut it down and created Free City instead. So we never got to see exactly what that would have looked like or how people would have interacted with this project. But that is an interesting question. How were you going to interact with this? Would you have just been like an eye in the sky observing, or would you have been on the ground as a killable character?
Well,
Yeah.
If you're literally just watching a screen and a game is going, I have to imagine it would not have sold
like
well.
yeah,
Well, that's
you'd
also
have
another-
to.
That's another point that Millie and Keyes make over and over towards the end of the movie is that there's more to it than just numbers.
Yeah.
They did the project because they believed in it. They didn't really care about the money.
Sure.
And that's we'll get to it, but that's the crux of the entire
Yeah.
end of the movie. Is they
I
don't
would
give a shit
imagine
about it.
like
and it's one
getting
thing to watch a game where you know every outcome is like predetermined by programming.
Mhm.
To see an actual AI interacting
Right.
with
It's
other
a,
AI.
it's a fancier Sims, and Sims.
this
don't-
is
Well,
an
it's
interesting.
fancier
Well,
sport.
right. This is an
Oh.
interesting thing because I found this interesting to be like, would this work? And I think that part of the movie was asking us to question like, hey, can we think about video games differently? But like, yeah, think about like going to like a concert or a show or a sketch comedy show or like a performance or like whatever, and like you also have like the opportunity of like, so like imagine these AI things inside are like have an art show. They have like their art coffee shop that they go to, and then you can talk to them afterwards. Like it's kind of like that experience
Provide
of like,
delicate
oh,
snaps
what did
during
you do
slam
today? What did you do
poetry.
in the game today? Like, oh, I went to this like coffee house in like the end of their town, and like I don't think that many people have been there. We only had like 3 visits the entire thing, but it was like this super cool. Like that would be like the experience is that like you don't know where it's going. Like you could literally go find things the way people do in the real world. And it's
Yeah.
actually a very interesting thing to be like, I literally found this thing because no one wrote it ahead of time. It's just an AI
Guys, did we try a video
like
game?
figuring out its own way. No, I think this
wrote-
is what they wrote. I think this is
I
what they
think we
wrote that like we
Second
get to think
Life, which is an actual thing.
Yeah.
It's
Second
I don't
Life
know.
was
I don't know
a
video
game.
games enough. I mean, am I just repeating things that have been done?
No, Second Life was a different thing in that it was like The Sims, but it was online, so everybody had their own person. And you
It
got
also
to create your
dissolves into
backstories.
madness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people take it way too
Evil.
seriously.
Yes.
So life
yeah,
itself.
right? Life itself. Everything.
Good
yeah.
We need
title.
a third life.
Anyway, so
I think it's really funny that it's called Life Itself because it's just like
so
It's a little on the nose.
yeah,
but somehow not. I don't know.
that'd be
I dig
funny. So back to the plot. Millie, after encountering Guy, we find out that she is trying to find the evidence as to how this game is built on the backbones of her game, Life Itself. And she encounters a man in an alley in a mask and a cloak, and she buys like some data off of him about where to find a video clip that might show something she's interested in.
By the way, I just wanted to real quick comment about the fact that like when she starts to exposition why she's there, what she's doing to the coffee shop to do it, and then the waitress just cuts her off, be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I didn't ask about any of that," or like,
Yep.
I really enjoyed the fact that
That was
like,
really funny.
because I was kind of like, "Oh, yeah, right, you're right." That why would somebody?
Why would you tell a
expose-
barista this?
It just gave enough of a hint to like be like, okay, I think I get the gist, and I'll pick up the pieces as you go. It was a nice little storytelling technique.
It was. But this moment in the alley with this hooded figure is our first guest cameo of the movie because that guy is Hugh Jackman, and that was really
Oh.
fucking awesome to see. Yeah.
Did I fucking miss this? What are you talking about?
So when she's in the alley talking to this guy who's got like a face mask on, and she's trying to buy some information, and he was like, "Oh, what you're looking for is in this stash house," and he pulls up like a little map, and then
His voice is.
and then he keeps asking her questions, and she says, "I kill people that ask questions." And then as she leaves, he asks another one, and she shoots him without looking at him.
Yeah.
That guy was Hugh Jackman, and that was a really fucking interesting thing to
The
find.
actor in the suit or
The actor in the suit and the
voice?
guy talking. They were both Hugh Jackman, I believe.
Okay, but was I supposed to know that was Hugh Jackman?
No, it was just like it was like fucking Daniel Craig being a stormtrooper in Episode 7. Like you didn't really know it, but it's like, hey, that's kind of cool, I guess.
How do I even know it was the right guy? How do I even know?
All right, thanks
See,
for.
when you ask this many questions, your life becomes less fulfilling.
I'm just asking questions, man. Like, how do you know how do you know this is a globe?
How do you know we're not? How do you know we're not all Hugh Jackman?
So, I believe in a PG-13 movie you get one F-bomb, correct, Troy?
Usually, yeah.
So, it is at this point in the movie we also get the one F-bomb from Ryan Reynolds, which I wrote down in my phone as well. Because after he meets Millie, he starts going off this path of just like trying to find out if his life has more meaning and if she can be in his life somehow. And Buddy says she's one of the sunglasses people. We're not sunglasses people. We don't interact with them. They're different from us. And he has the thought, well, what if I am a sunglasses person? And every morning he keeps waking up and he says hi to his goldfish. And he says, "Good fucking morning, Goldie," one time. And I heard the kid in the seat behind me in the movie theater go like, "Ah ha ha." That was whatever. fine.
Yeah, that. Okay, so interestingly enough, I have to. I mean, I hope the kids liked it. I can't. How do I put this? I don't. That was the. That I didn't need that at all. I didn't need
No.
that fuck. Like it
felt
seemed a
like
forced one.
It felt a little forced.
It wasn't a good enough joke to keep it in, and I was like, you don't need to use the fuck. Like
I felt
this
like
is
some writer
Listen,
in a
if
room
they have the
was,
fuck, they're gonna use the fuck.
I felt like some script doctor in a room was like, maybe I can punch up the jokes a little bit here by adding in this fuck, just to like show that he's getting a little bit more sentient. But I mean, it wasn't really. It was a little gratuitous. It didn't feel necessary. It felt like a typical Ryan Reynolds movie where he's got like the bad language and the humor in it, and they just kind of inserted the fuck in there just to like, because we get one because it's a PG-13 movie, so let's fucking use it. But
But then they used
they
it
didn't
right
have
then
to.
and there because they said that when they were making the movie, and then they had to, everybody was all mad at them. And
yeah, it didn't feel necessary. It would have been better the final fight with fucking Dude. It would have been way better there. But
yeah.
Oh my
gosh, I
God!
can't wait to-
Who the hell cares?
thank you, Chris. Moving on. So Guy speaks to Millie, and initially she thinks that he's another player who has wearing an NPC skin,
Just
which she
another
finds
player.
very odd. But she tells him
Shit.
that she's not really interested in interacting with him right now because he's a very low level and she's got work to do.
She
So
interested.
come back when you hit level 100, you fucking scrub.
100.
Is pretty much what she tells him straight
See
up.
no.
Then we get to
Straight
watch
up.
somebody who plays this game 24/7 get to level 100 in a couple days.
Yeah, basically, and he saes that he doesn't want to hurt
By
innocent
doing
people.
nice things. By doing
Yeah,
nice
he
things.
says he
Like there
can't
was
hurt
one way
innocent
to
people.
level up. There was one
Oh,
way
yeah.
to level up by like what was the premise
it
of
was
this?
like
That like
taking people's
if you
guns away. It was like helping.
Yeah, but being a good
helping
guy.
injured.
Yeah, be a good guy was kind of just like the.
I think that was in the game all along. Like, does that seem like a
I mean,
like a,
no,
like a
that's-
viable
that's
thing
what
that
they're-
would be?
That's
in
what
the,
they're implying is that.
is
that's
that in GTA? Is that like a
No,
thing
you
you can
don't
do in
get-
GTA? Like, this is what I'm saying.
To a certain extent, there were
'Cause this-
like random events that would happen. Like a woman's purse gets stolen. You can get the purse back. You can keep it, or you can give it back.
Yeah, those are a lot more common in Red
Weird.
Dead though, rather than GTA. But I understand what you're saying.
But it,
But
it's
Okay,
also,
so yeah.
Games have always had like multiple paths, some good, some bad. Like one famous example in World of Warcraft, when you choose the Panda race, you can either be either faction, Horde, or Alliance. Some guy decided, nah, I'm gonna be neither, and stayed neutral
This is
and reached max level.
How can you stay
This is the-
neutral?
Because he stayed on the starting island and just mined ore, which gets you a little bit of experience, and he did this from level 1
So
to
he
100.
basically became
He good guide.
Yeah,
the
got
Iron
he got an
Throne.
NPC
Free-panded.
He got,
He
a,
became
he
the Iron
got an
Throne.
NPC created in the game.
No, he became
for
the
his
Iron
dedication.
Bank. The Iron Bank in Game of
He was
Thrones.
the Iron
became
Bank. He
Iron
takes
yeah.
no sides. He
He's
just
in
backs.
Bravos.
Yeah, so it's a thing that happens.
But this movie's implying that it's like it's the optimal way to level up, and everybody's just like, yeah, but I have this gun, and that guy said something stupid on the sidewalk, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna blow him away.
It's really making every actual person out to be a fucking psychopath.
Which
Mhm.
I mean,
some
you
of
play
them
video games
in this
online.
game are. Some of them in this game are.
I like
Yeah,
the
but not
the
everybody
exposition
is.
where it's just like, and they have sunglasses. People have missions, and they shoot people, and they're more like guidelines. Like it's just,
Yeah.
I
And
just
I-
like the
I-
whole
yeah,
happy-go-lucky premise of it all.
Yeah, and in
Although
the
I
very
didn't
beginning.
quite understand, like, are some people dying? Like, it seems like part of the game is like people get shot, but like also, and like the one dude gets thrown out the window, but like, and then he's like holding his head, he's a little bit hurt, but like not too bad. And some people get kind of beat, but like they're not shot to death,
No,
right? Like no one's shot to
it's-
death. Like, or are they beaten up to a point and then brought back to
Well, you
life
see,
the
it
next
takes
day?
place in
I
a
guess.
video game universe, so they probably have different health values.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
it seems that like if you die, like you have to just respawn elsewhere
So,
or
but
something.
I guess what I'm wondering is like, has he lost people or does he reboot every morning?
He reboots every morning.
He reboots every morning, but he maintains his memories.
Of those brutal deaths, and then he's like, "Oh, you're still alive." Like,
Yeah, it
you're not-
seems
that
he
wasn't a
does.
thing. Okay, I'm just trying to get a full premise of the world.
I
like,
doubt an
if
AI is
we-
programmed for pain.
I mean,
Oh,
he does
sorry.
feel pain if he
I don't
gets
know.
punched and stuff.
The other thing I wanted to ask about it was like the potential sequels. I was like, they're just going to go to different world building, right? Like they have literally
Yeah, they'll go to like
every,
the fantasy
the Old
city
West.
next
They
to
gotta
the
do
sci-fi
the
city.
they got to
The
do
Polar
Red
Wreck-It
Red.
Ralph too.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could do
I
that.
imagine. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm thinking Red Dead Redemption now that you say it, because I think that's like the
God, I love
modern.
that.
You just want to see Cowboy
thing.
Ryan Reynolds, don't you, Jeff?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
Who
Yes.
doesn't? Who does not?
Now
wanna
let me
see-
tell you something, boy. Ain't
He
nothing
runs into
wrong with
Logan.
Cowboy Ryan
He runs
Reynolds.
into Hugh Jackman as an awesome cowboy.
He's-
Come here,
Who doesn't
boy.
want to
Oh,
see
if Hugh
that?
Jackman's like the black hat cowboy.
Dude, if you got all the Chris's and all of the former superheroes and made a new Magnificent Seven, that would be the best movie ever.
Oh my God! Stop it!
I mean,
I can
Chris
only
Pratt
get
was
so
already
erect.
in the last one.
Yeah, but that one's not great.
I can only get
That one's
so
that one's
erect. I
boring.
love that line.
That one's lame.
Anyway,
So, Guy does good guy things to level up to 100, and the world kind of notices. So the
What
whole
is
like
it-
streaming community for this
Yeah.
game is noticing that there's a character walking around, blue shirt guy, and he's just doing good guy things, and he's getting XP, and he's becoming a bit of like an in-game personality and an in-game meme.
and I
and
feel
the
like
world-
Lil D knew every single one of these.
Yeah, there was a lot of cameos
podcasters
by
and,
streamers.
and
there was
streamers and
Jacksepticeye.
Jacksepticeye was there, Laserbeam was
Laserbeam.
there, Pokimane was there.
I literally didn't know.
Ninja.
I
Ninja
thought they
was
were all just
there.
actors.
There was quite a few streamers in there delivering lines and as part of the game, and it was actually quite cool to see. Like I was like, oh, I recognize some of these people. That's pretty neat. That's pretty nifty. And then so Millie attempts to break into the stash and is unsuccessful. It is super heavily guarded, and the stash, for the record, is another player's like personal base. So she really shouldn't be allowed in there at all. But she asks Keys for help to get in there. And he obliges, and he says, "Sure, I'll help you out." Which he's very reluctant to do it because he doesn't want to fuck things up. But whatever. So she is on her way in and is getting thoroughly fucked over by all of these like NPCs spawning with guns and stuff. When Guy shows up, and he is significantly more muscular. He is level 105, I think, at this point after leveling up and doing a bunch of things, and he is just awesome. And he thoroughly kicks some ass with Millie, and the two of them escape together, and it's awesome. Guy helps Millie escape the stash, and Millie recognizes that Guy is becoming sentient and believes he can help her find their original code within the game world. Because at this point, Millie kind of has a suspicion that he's not really a character, and after the heist goes wrong, they don't get the game clip that they were looking for. Guy
But
takes
they have
her,
an
like,
awesome shoot 'em up motorcycle exit.
Yeah, it was in all the trailers where like she reaches down and
I
she's
didn't
like, "Is that a
see it.
Glock in your pocket?"
I
And he's
really
like,
didn't even
"No, it's
watch
2
this."
Glocks." and then she moves out 2 blocks.
I
Whatever.
didn't even see that.
But they go on like a pseudo date at this like park, which is Guy's favorite, where they have an ice cream.
It's pronounced pseudo.
There's an
hate
ice cream
you.
man selling bubblegum ice cream, which is his favorite flavor and also happens to be Millie's favorite flavor. And there's a swing set, which Millie happens to have loved ever since she was a little girl.
Except later we find out that Steve Harrington actually wrote that into the character.
Yeah, the character Steve Harrington. This is actually a spin-off.
Spoiler
Please.
box.
As a guy who's never seen Stranger Things,
What if
every
I was
time you say
spoiled?
Steve Harrington, I have to go like, what? And
The
and then I
skin
remember.
in Dead by Daylight.
It's Steve Harrington.
Yeah.
You can put glasses
It's
on
getting
him, but you
removed.
can't cover up that hair.
Yes, it's very
Sorry,
sad.
sorry, Joe Keery.
You know what's funny?
I love
As soon
you,
as I
man.
saw him,
You're
I was
awesome.
like, oh,
Embrace
that's
that
Stranger
hair.
Things kid.
Mhm.
Like, I knew him. I've just never seen the show. That's how, like, fucking ingrained in pop culture all that shit is.
Fucking, I am so sorry, Joe Keery. I fucking love Steve Harrington. You did a phenomenal
too.
job. Anyway,
I bet he loves you too. Anyway, so they have like a
hope so.
pseudo date and they do
hope
have a kiss, and Millie's like completely stunned that this just fucking happened, and she's freaking out to Keys, and Keys is telling her like he's an NPC. Like I looked it up, he's an NPC, and she's fucking had a meltdown. It's actually quite funny seeing it happen in real time, and it has that great throwaway line where he's like, "There's not even a button for that," and she's like, "Oh, he found the button." And I heard like this
Yeah.
mom behind me
Yeah.
like chortle
Uh-huh.
to herself,
Mhm.
and I was like,
yeah, there
okay.
was a definitely
The
yeah,
only
that definitely raised some.
confusing thing to me is that she
Oh,
then kisses
explain.
him later.
Yeah, that's true. She does.
So how did she find the
She
button?
found the button.
She used the emote for kiss.
Yeah, there's the emote, I'm sure.
It's right next to flossing.
Anyway, so at this point in the world,
narrative.
the narrative. Thank you.
The narrative world.
No, the world of this movie, the flat one.
When Millie tells Guy the truth of his situation, that he is just a background character in this world, and that she is a person.
I
in
hate
the
when
real
I hate when girls tell you that.
Yeah, right. It's
Such a
such a
downer.
fucking.
No. But listen, this is a fucking an amazing metaphor for a breakup.
Yeah.
To say, which is why this movie worked interestingly on various levels. It was not him. They did not have like a truly. I guess they had a romantic relationship, but at the same time, it wasn't about all of that. Like, it was just like that is what happens when you get broken up with. You're told you're not the main character. You're a
You're a background
non-playable
character.
You're a
Yeah.
background character.
You're a background
Like,
character.
and that's literally the like to go from a background character to the main character to back. I didn't ever think of how that is literally the metaphor for everyone who's fallen in love and fallen out and like been dumped or been rejected or been rejected for like the worst reason of like I don't know, I want to be friends, or like I'm sorry, I have to do this.
Yeah.
You're not real.
Yeah.
If I've had $1 for everybody told me that I'm not real.
So when Millie tells Guy
Really,
the
they
truth
just say
of
I
his
can't believe you're
situation,
real, but whatever.
when Millie tells Guy the truth of his situation, Guy breaks off their relationship, telling her that he's in love with her. At this point, in the real world, we learn that Antoine has been developing Free City 2, and he's been telling everyone that it's going to be built on the backbone of Free City. Everything will import over, and that is all a bunch of horse shit. It is a completely new game that is going to wipe Free City and replace it with Free City 2, which installs this sort of, I don't know the exact word for it that I'm trying to think of, but there's now like stakes here because Guy's whole world, including him, presumably, is about to get wiped from existence in a few days when this new game
Consequences.
launches. Consequences. Thank you. That's why you have
Effects.
that expensive piece of paper. Thank you so much.
Results.
So Millie needs to stop
Consequences.
Free City 2 from erasing Free City so that she can get the proof that she needs that their game was stolen, their code was stolen, to make this game. And Keys and Millie have the idea of enlisting Guy's help since he is a player in the game. And by revealing all this information, that's when the breakup happens inside that's when all that shit goes down. Anyway, so then Guy goes to his best friend, Buddy, and they have a little conversation, and Guy's trying to, like, get some information out of Buddy, but he's trying to pose it, like, as a metaphor, because I think he understands Buddy can't understand things on his level. There is an interesting dichotomy there between like Guy, who now understands he's very, very different, and Buddy, who isn't, and Guy, I think he understands that because he's not saying things in black and white. He's being very cagey about it all. But eventually,
Okay,
Buddy...
wait, real quick. There was another world building thing that was a little off to me
Go for
because
it, go
they
for it.
eventually established that like the one coffee lady does eventually kind of make a cappuccino as a result of his like little standoff with it. But like initially, when he starts to break character,
Everyone freaks out.
everyone not only freaked out, the police officer was about to arrest him, and the tank near him so like just turned to shoot him. Like it wasn't just that like people within earshot could do it. It was like the whole program turned against him, and then after that it did not have that effect. Like it
That
did
is
not
really
have
interesting.
that kind
that
of
would've
like
been that would have been a
like-
fun thing to elaborate on later in the movie.
So, well, it feels to me more of like an early writing thing that stayed in there and then didn't kind of work with the world building that they've established. But
Oh, I see.
I think you could easily retcon it to just be like that was that was the programming kind of like really coming alive in that moment, and it bent the program, and then only after that did it recognize it and make it part of the natural play.
Right.
Like like originally the program was against it, and then once that code was in it, it just ate away at it. But I just remember I don't think they wrote that into the story too much. I don't think they kind of showed that happening.
However,
but like
you did mention the coffee. I want to point real quick. So everyone in Free City, all the NPCs drink the exact same coffee. It's a medium coffee with cream and 2 sugars.
it's delicious.
Which is revealed to be Millie's coffee. That's the way she takes her coffee in the real world. So that's just a little piece of information. Also, something I
pickup.
glazed over that I want to go back to. When they were talking to all the streamers and all the gamers about like blue shirt guy doing good things to level up, and they were like changing the way they view games, there was one guy they interviewed who was silhouetted against a wall. Do you remember that?
I don't.
It was very,
I
very
don't
brief.
remember this.
It was between all the Twitch streamers. They were talking to a couple people, and there was one guy they were talking to that was just silhouetted against a wall, and his voice was modulated. That guy was John Krasinski, cameo number 2.
Ah.
Boom.
Did he have good news?
I hope so.
count as cameos.
They
They're
are
voice cameos.
They're
Not
cameos.
even a voice
It was.
you
You
would-
need to clear it up. It's because they hired them through the website Cameo.
It's like Brad Pitt's cameo in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, but
At least you saw it with Brad Pitt.
Could I see them? Like I could get a glimpse of Brad Pitt and enough to recognize that there's Brad Pitt.
So if it's not a cameo, is it just a very expensive joke?
Yes.
Okay.
Or like
It's like an
a
inside
very
joke, though.
yeah, it's an inside joke. It is kind of tailor made for the internet world of literally that's made for people like YouTubers who do deep cuts and be like, actually, this actor is Daniel Craig, and he's like it's literally
Thank you. The deep cut.
like you know what I mean? Like it's just to say that like yes, this person did have an involvement for it. They had a joke with it.
To
They
be
did this.
fair,
with it.
we always have guest stars like Bigfoot's in the audience right now, and only
Thanks
true
for
fans.
thanks for
no,
bringing me
no,
up.
stay in the audience. Stay in the
but-
audience.
but
no,
I was
put-
just-
no. Get
How
off
did
the
you
mic.
get back in here?
Get off
I
the
set
mic.
up so many traps.
I avoided the
Jesus.
traps. We've been avoiding traps for hundreds of years in
Bigfoot.
the Pacific Northwest trees.
That's it. I'm getting my
Bigfoot.
gun.
Bigfoot.
I'll just see
Listen,
myself
no,
out.
don't just relax, Chris. Relax, Chris. He gets scared, and when he gets scared, you know what happens to the room.
Listen, he went through the fridge. He ate all the fucking donuts. That is
Look at-
unacceptable.
because
he's
it's-
a
Did he-
large
Name on them.
man. He's a large man. Okay, he's a man.
Thank you, D.
Okay.
I'm not happy with this.
I'm sorry that
Well-
I'm sorry that I was
well.
but please
Your apology is heard, but
I
I
was-
do not have the heart to accept it at this time.
I understand.
Oh,
that, but
jeez,
listen,
Biggie, did you just let it stinks, man? It smells so.
I got scared.
Are you scared?
I
Were you?
apologize.
You, oh,
I'm gonna
jeez,
talk to the
I
security guard.
told
I'm
you.
gonna
He
ban
mentioned
you
the
from
gun.
the premises.
Now it's. Oh my. Oh, it's.
I'll get the paper
Holy
towels.
the
Oh,
paint
just-
is peeling off
Can you
the
just
walls.
maybe another time? Maybe just.
God,
You
it's a
bring
good thing
Jeff-
I don't have a nose.
Jesus Christ! Oh my gosh!
Still a lot of
so.
lore in this joke.
It is so. Jeff.
Give Jeff a
Did you
moment.
smell
Give
that?
Jeff a
Did you
moment.
smell that on your way?
Dude,
like you
I
can't let him in here,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
You
Yeah,
can't
You just
just
left
let
to go to
him.
the bathroom for like 2 seconds.
I'm not good
Not
at
if Chris.
confrontation.
You
I
know,
can't let
Chris
people
wants to
know.
mention guns when he's here.
Yeah, Chris, come on. Keep
These
it up-
guns.
Keep it under the
This
MAGA
is
hat for now.
Texas?
Oh man, at least
No,
you have
this
them
is
covered
Philly.
up for once, there, Chris.
MAGA, make anime great again. Thank you very much. I'm here all week, folks. I'm gonna get you that hat. I'm gonna get you that
Bring
fucking
Bigfoot
hat.
back on.
Jeff, I hate you so much. I think I might hate you more than Bigfoot.
All
Chris,
right.
Wow.
Chris, but we do need to have a talk. You do need to be a little bit nice to Bigfoot.
No,
We
You also need to get
I
to this
had
movie faster.
Boston
I want to get to
cream
the.
donuts
I want to get to
in the fridge. He
the
ate
part where
everyone.
we're not going to talk much about this side plot with the other guys, right? Because it gets fucking in the weeds, and I would say that this is where the plot gets. They do a fine job with it, but holy crap, do I not want to recap all these different like side bones because they're all fine, but holy crap, they get into the Antoine stuff like deep with like his buddy and all this stuff. So where are we at in the story? Because we're not even at the.
Yeah, there's a lot of like deep Antoine stuff that
Just
doesn't
knows.
quite matter, but the stuff that does matter. So after Guy and Buddy have their little heart-to-heart where Buddy says, even if we aren't real, this moment we're sharing right now is real. And that kind of
Yeah,
clicks
there's
in
the-
its head for Guy, and now Guy is 100% sentient, fully on board. He is awesome, and he is ready to help Millie out and help her
Which-
with her little project.
By the by, for anybody, all you cool cat atheists out there, that is
Okay.
the central.
Go on.
That is this, there are
Can we
for
get
a lot of people
some-
that are
some low worker work.
You got
No.
this, come on.
I don't know.
you got it low lighting.
My brain just stopped there.
Yeah, your
It's all
brain
right,
ceased
cool cats.
functionality for a
You're
second.
just cool. You're cool to me still. There, Troy. Listen, if you're a cool atheist, all the
Get,
cool
get some
atheists.
low saxophones and some jazz
Yeah.
playing. Some
Excelsior,
no, I like-
non-believers.
All right, it's
Right.
all Excelsior, baby. It's all Excelsior.
It's
No, I love that message of just yeah, the Wilhelm
So-
scream of existentialism of just
To gain
yeah,
back-
this moment's real.
to gain
is
back
a good central
Millie's-
metaphor.
Yes, to gain back Millie's trust and to help her out, Guy decides to
Message.
break into the stash with Buddy's help. And they're trying to be all intimidating. I mean,
Sounds
he's
like the
laying on a
plot to Elf.
car, and Buddy's got his gun in his hands. He's like, I've never even held this thing before. I don't know what I'm doing. And then Channing Tatum slides down
funny.
the stairs because he's the guy, of course. And he's like, oh my God, you're a blue shirt guy. You can have anything you want. And he's like, can I have that clip? He's like, oh yeah, sure. Here you go. Whatever. And it's fucking awesome. And then we find out.
So Channing Tatum and the guy playing him.
The guy playing him is from Stranger
Yeah, so
Things.
Channing
as
Tatum
well.
is the
guy playing
avatar
him-
in the
Right,
game.
right.
The player controlling him is this like crazy, stereotypically nerdy guy.
It's Jeff.
and
I-
he's
Yep.
he's he's
Yep.
actually he's also from Stranger Things. He
Yep.
plays at least I feel like he's
Stranger.
in
He
the
plays the
I,
stranger.
I feel like
No, he
he's at
plays the
least
Thing.
in season 2 and 3. If not, I don't think he's in season 1, but I think he's in seasons 2 and 3. And
Yes.
he was the video game arcade runner in that, and then he runs the
Yep.
video store in season 3.
And real quick, cameo number 3.
Cliche.
This one is actually a cameo. So while he's playing the game and talking to Guy in the game, his mother is behind him, and she is voiced by Tina Fey. So, boom, cameo number 3 right there for you. I did recognize her voice immediately as soon as she started speaking. I was like, oh, that's Tina Fey. Perfect.
I think
I-
though.
Yeah,
that
my brain was
this-
trying to register that and didn't. But yeah.
I think that this scene is kind of where the movie, like my opinion of the movie, gets summed up. Though, where sometimes we were talking about like deep existentialism and like having a positive outlook on nihilism,
And then
all
it
that
cuts to a
stuff.
cheap joke.
And then yeah, like this is super
I
on the
didn't-
nose, like base level video game gamer.
I didn't mind this part at the beginning, but when they get into the dances at
That's
the
what-
end,
that's what I'm
this
saying
was
is
this is
thi-
where this whole
this-
scene was 100% made for Lil D.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yep.
this
Thi-
whole
this
scene,
joke,
except for
this joke-
Channing Tatum or Tatum Channing.
Channing
we have a
Tatum is
running-
his name.
We have a
Also,
running, we have a running
Gambit.
joke that we always say Tatum, like we always say it wrong.
Tanning
or,
Tatum?
Tatum, Chud, his tad of his
Cannibalistic
chain-
humanoid
his
underground
chain.
dwiller?
He has a taint.
What?
Chud
Taint
taint?
Channing.
So,
Channing
just to clarify
Channing
for
Tatum.
Chris, because he looks very confused, Chud was a series of like B movies in the 90s, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. They were like these little chuds.
Right, and
It was
for
like a
the Rick
kid's
and Morty
movie.
crowd,
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
they were originally, not
Thank you for explaining
horse
that to me.
hybrid.
And Chud 2, Chud goes above ground. He's
Chud
gonna
harder.
get married. No, there's Chud who's getting married, and he's
too
coming above
Chud,
ground
too
to get
furious.
Is there a Chud Norris?
married.
There
No,
can
but there's a
be.
Chud Testa. That's another dead.
Oh, that just reminded me of the Tesla robot.
Anyway, so fun fact, not a cameo, but a fun fact. All of the dances Channing Tatum did were his own stunt work. So like all like the break dancing and the hopping over the floor and whatever,
Channing Tatum played a
and
bunch of
sliding down the
Fortnite then?
staircase, that was all him. And when asked about it, he was like, "Magic Mike paid off." And I was like, "Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's
That's a
fair.
good answer.
That's a good
actually.
answer." He can do some crazy limber things now because he did a whole bunch of work for Magic Mike.
What about Gambit? What about the movie Gambit that came out that was real that he didn't not end up ever getting to happen? And he was sad about it.
Anyway,
Did that pay
Never
off for
bought
anything
it.
for him?
I never bought him on that until I saw the one Quentin Tarantino movie that he pops in.
yeah.
And I believed it. That one. Yep.
Hateful Eight.
Yes.
Yep.
So, after retrieving the
That's
video clip, just to plow right on, Guy's continued popularity threatens the launch of Free City 2. He has become such a giant meme that kids in China are dressing up as him, and there are people that are like completely rallying around the idea of Blue Shirt Guy and doing good deeds in video games now instead of just killing people. And like, there's this monologue by Jacksepticeye where he says that he wants to like reevaluate the way he looks at NPCs in video games, and I'm just like, okay, calm down. You're hitting it a little too hard.
So
here.
you're still looking to genocide the NPCs, Jeff? Is that
Yes.
what you're saying?
Yes, they
You're
have no
saying
feelings.
that on
They
air,
don't exist.
on air right now?
Yeah, so yeah, this is where the like you said, like in the last scene, where I there's a lot of the message and the whole kind of feel of this movie definitely splits a little bit for me in terms of its whole style, where it's like definitely for the kid audience, you know, it's like the under 13 crowd more so than the above 13 crowd. I feel like at this stage, because it's really kind of, you know, lovey-dovey, you know, happy ending, and goofy, like
It is quite goofy, yes.
like in a way where I'm like, when we get to the end of this movie, I'm gonna have like one big problem. Like
Yeah, I
it's probably
bet
my
you
biggest
are.
problem with it.
I bet you
Um,
are.
But it's fine.
So
it's
with the
fine.
popularity of Blue Shirt Guy ever increasing, that threatens the launch of Free City 2, because Free City 2 was going to wipe all of Free City and get rid of Blue Shirt Guy. So Antoine orders Keys and his partner at the at Tsunami Studios, Mauser, to reboot Guy's programming and completely reboot the character. Keys refuses and is subsequently fired, and Antoine reboots Guy himself. In the game, Millie now finds Guy without any memories of his sentience. He's walking down the street with Buddy, talking about his awesome coffee and how the bank is going to be great. He wakes up and grabs the same fucking shirt and tie that he did in the beginning of the movie, and he eats the same cereal and whatever. He's way back. He's back to being vanilla Guy. And Keys
Not to
tells
be confused with Vanilla Ice.
Or
yes.
vanilla guy.
And
Vanilla.
Keys-
This is like a vanilla-esque guy, not vanilla guy.
Yes. And this is where we get some information on Guy's actual code and programming, because Keys sends this like video explanation of the code to Millie, where he explains.
By the way,
that-
at the end, when she goes back to that and realizes that she's in love, are we to assume that we needed that explained again? That she didn't get that the first? Like, did she stop the video? I was like, no. So that's what
I
he said.
didn't-
Like, how do you not pick this up of what he was saying?
I picked it
is
up
she
literally
that
halfway through the
blind?
movie,
Mhm.
and I didn't understand why they needed to
Let me
rehash it
find
again,
that.
but they felt the need to. So, anyway, so Keys tells Millie that, listen, Guy became sentient after you interacted with him. You have the keys to make him sentient again, because his code is based off of this archetype that he had an idea for, where it's this unlucky in love guy who's constantly looking for the one girl, and his dream girl is exactly Millie because he needed to base it off a real person. That was his bullshit excuse on the video.
I mean, that happens a lot in video games.
That
It
is how
does
you
happen a
make
lot in video
AI.
games, I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it.
What it is that you know the girl so well that you can mansplain them into a person.
Damn.
That's how you create life. Thank you.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. And
That joke also hid my loud bottle click that nobody's gonna.
it didn't
out
hide
now.
it at all. Actually, I heard every bit of it. So
You're fired.
So I pointed out.
Millie Millie realizes that she needs to, snap Guy out of this and get him to be, sentient Guy again. So she tries a couple things, none of them work. She eventually kisses him, and that is what fucking
With the
works.
button that doesn't exist.
Exactly, with a button that doesn't
Oh,
exist.
she found the button.
She did find the button. And she kisses him and everything works. So great, Guy's back to, being whatever. And Guy, after viewing the video where they saw the glitch happen, Millie saw the island where, like, their game existed. The life itself, I think it was called.
Right.
She saw their game actually
It's pronounced
existing.
Island.
God damn it, this is like the dumbest inside joke. And it's been going on for fucking years now. But the island does actually exist, and it's just beyond the southern horizon of the game's borders, so you can never ever get there. But Guy shows her that by showing her the reflection is still in the code of, like, the building. So if you turn the blinds ever so slightly, you can see it reflected. So it's there. You just got to get there. So they're trying to figure out how to do that. They need a bridge. Keys says, I can make the bridge. Meanwhile, drama's going on inside Tsunami Studios because Antoine needs to stop them from getting to that, because if they do and they can prove this, then his whole fucking gambit's up.
Antoine gets very
No,
slapstick
Gambit
in
can't
this
do
whole. This
Antoine
whole
gets
kinda
really,
scenario.
like, ridiculously
make it-
slapstick and over the top.
they
and
make like
meltdown.
Tiki,
And it's 100%
Taika-
accurate.
Taika, is it? What? How is this
To
accurate?
a game producer, yeah.
To like a game producer in terms of like how they were locked out of everything, systematic, like in a different. In what way? Like to like
I mean-
a guy, like a crazy, like a Silicon Valley guy.
A lot of
Or what do you
producers
mean?
in the gaming industry are not looked upon favorably.
No,
So
I get that much.
driving that up to 11 is not outside the realm of reality.
No, I think they made it complex. It's just a lot of them, and they had to kind of walk through all these different gaming paths. It felt like to like kind of which I think they did like a lot of heavy lifting to try to like make it seem like this guy could be somehow. How do they weave the storyline to where they don't just unplug the character or like do this or that? Like, so they unplug him, he gets rebooted. The only way to do it is reset the whole thing or to blow out the servers to delete the whole thing eventually. So like that I think was like well done enough in the storytelling, which I think was complex to demonstrate. And I think they did a fine enough job. My question is like, did any of that like track for somebody that
Not the
knows?
server thing, because
games.
no producer houses their servers on site. They use data
Okay,
centers.
yeah, I figured that much.
Yeah, but
That was
I
one
will
thing.
s- I will
Even
Also,
say-
that-
also, there's server backups. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
doing much.
I will say, out of all the Taika cake, this isn't my
It's
favorite
too much.
Taika cake. This is
It's
like
too much,
This
though.
is like carrot Taika cake. It's like it's Mandalorian's like triple layer chocolate cake with a cherry on it. This is like
speaking of Taika, because this is a good time to bring up. When we first see him, he's wearing this very dramatic two-toned blue coat, which is almost directly ripped from an Assassin's Creed game, and it is a cloak worn by one of the big bad guys, Haytham Kemper.
It does make sense that he's kind of like it's like a modern day like tap out shirt. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. And then when
it's
we
like
see
it's
him,
just wearing the.
and then when we see
even
him
though-
later, he's wearing Mr. X's coat from Resident Evil.
Well, he does strike me as I think the thing he's trying to do is what people say and try to justify Spider-Man 3 with, where they're like, this is what a lame loser thinks a cool guy is, where
Yeah.
he's like trying
Yeah.
really hard to be cool and
Yeah.
Yeah.
genuinely believes that he's there.
It just felt like a little like subtle nod where it's like this guy is
Yeah.
the bad guy because we're dressing him in bad guy attire from popular video
But
games.
also,
I was
think about
just
this
more-
character. Can you imagine him waking up and being like, "Today's the Mr. X day"? Like,
Today I wear
It was
Mr.
just
X's
difficult to kind of. It was just difficult to kind of. To the whole kind of lead up and then like the back and forth like so they have to make this character that is the villain but outside of the gaming world, and so they always have to have an avatar for his effect with Guy, right? And it just so happens that like it just so happens like during this kind of a couple of these middle scenes, they have to tell that story that's going on there, and then they constantly have to cut back to the real world. And I feel like most of the time, as interesting as Taika can be, it's not quite good enough because the only time it really redeems itself, I think, is when they get the Ryan Reynolds avatar
Yep.
from the bridge, which I think we're like right there. And his thing shouldn't be as funny as it is, and it's just this great, I feel like, combination of the uncanny valley and also just
Yep.
like just
Speaking of
dumb,
dude, that was a real guy.
but it totally worked.
No, it's a dude. Guy is the other one.
So it's
Is he
a,
dude? Is that his name, dude?
No,
Yeah.
his name is Aaron Reed, and he's
No,
actually that
the-
size. That none of that was CGI
Oh, I
except
figured
for
that
Reynolds'
guy.
face.
Oh,
It was,
yeah, I'm
pretty cool.
sure. I'm sure.
And I think I think he actually got like a
I think it's
temporary
funny that you
tattoo
had
of
to
the blue
have
guy shirt.
you had to have a absolute. That's funny. That's a funny little nut. Like that's how like is that supposed to mimic that the programming is like so. Like he's kind of based on him, but like
Yeah,
he's like this larger
it was like
version.
this is the homage to Blue Shirt Guy, because like
Yeah.
you'd be a shitty dev to not acknowledge the cool thing from your previous game, even though you're getting rid of it. So that's why they had dude who looks just like him but bigger, stronger, better. And oh look, he's got a blue shirt tattoo. Isn't that funny? Because he used to be Blue Shirt Guy.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a little
kind of
nod.
neat to see the nod to all that stuff in dude, even if he was a half baked character. who couldn't form
Catchphrase.
complete sentences.
Catchphrase.
Which
I
catchphrase
dug
is
that.
a catchphrase is a joke that's already been done before.
I absolutely
but
think that's
so
true,
is-
but still good.
Every joke.
No. Speaking of Taika, my favorite Taika moment of all was when after he fired Keyes and was making Mauser reboot Guy. He was like, "Do you want some sort of like handshake or something?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, because now we're partners, right?" And he was like, "Sure, on 3, 1, 2, 3, get back to work." It was fucking hilarious.
That was
Fucking
good.
hilarious. I laughed out loud in the movie theater. It was awesome.
I think I did laugh at that part, but I can't quite remember what you're saying,
Yes.
even though you just said it. But either way, it did trigger a memory of like, no, I
it's a
did follow
weird
that
power
while watching.
that Jeff has, where you listen to him, but you kind of don't listen to him.
Mhm.
It's something weird.
Listen,
that Jeff.
We're cut
it's
from
like
the
an
same
aura
cloth,
he
so
emanates,
I
yeah.
get it. Yeah, I get it. I get
So
You could argue that's all four
it.
of us.
Simpatico.
yeah. So
Just
now,
this podcast in general.
so now this is the climax of the movie.
This is the
where-
Asperger's podcast.
Kind of. So this is the climax of the movie where Guy and Millie are racing against time to get to the island to prove that the code exists. Meanwhile, Antoine is trying his very best to shut everything down. He goes so far as to boot all players from the game, and Millie gets kicked out as well. So all she can do is watch. And then Keyes like sets up some streaming to like broadcast everything from Guy's
Wait.
perspective.
Is this after the fight with dude?
This is just before.
Okay.
Yeah, we're leading up to that. So everything the guy does is being streamed to everyone playing Free City, and it's becoming like an international phenomenon. Like everyone seems to be watching this. Dude is.
They're-
But it
it's
is
it's almost
also-
as if they're hacking the planet.
Jesus Christ.
But it is also proving the point of like people could be interested just watching the video game that they were talking about before.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitch proved that, right? Like,
I
this,
mean,
this is a point the game is.
sure.
The game is the movie is trying to prove that people will get enjoyment watching games, but like Twitch and YouTube Live, they've already proven that for years now. People love watching streamers play games, even silent.
But is that more for
streamers.
the game or is that more for the streamer's personality?
Even silent streamers have lots of views because people just want to watch the game being played sometimes.
Even
if
stupid
it's a
stuff.
story-driven game.
So yeah, but there's still the
Snoop Dogg's fucking
understanding
Twitch.
that they're working within the limits of a player's a someone who is playing the game, as opposed to an AI version that is
Right,
like,
right,
quote
right.
unquote playing the game. It's
And
just
that's where the
like, you know,
groundbreaking stuff from Keyes and
and
Millie
I
came
think
in.
that's an interesting evolution, right? It's just like having the faith to just be like, listen, we're not even going to do that. We're going to cut out the middleman. Our game is the streaming stuff, is the stuff to watch, and all you do is choose which one to put on your stream. It's like, yo, I followed this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I followed this
Blue Shirt
random
guy.
character, but it's a different one. Like if you think about like every character is a different one, and it's just like you can literally be like, guess what this fucking thing did? Just because you spend so much time on it, you find one thing that like, yo, it fucking jerked off for 20 minutes. Like,
Hey,
like
D,
fucking
I got a
A.
question.
Yeah.
You and your wife are big on couples costumes. I feel like
Interesting
this
segue.
year. I feel like this year, blue shirt guy and Molotov girl is going to be the new hotness, and people are going
Oh,
to try to do that.
interesting. That's dope.
Yeah,
That's a
I just
great
had that
idea.
thought. Blue shirt guy and Molotov girl will be a pretty good couple's
or-
costume.
I'm gonna have to do
Blue
so
shirt
many
guy and
push-ups.
dude.
I'm gonna have to do so many.
You just gotta bulk
push-ups.
up.
And
Yeah, then
blue shirt guy's easy enough. You just need a button-up short sleeve blue shirt, khakis, and a
or
tie.
no, I already have the.
Oh, I know you already have
the
the uniform
Henley.
in your closet.
No, this. Oh, that actually brings up a good point that I've long had this absolute. It's not even a theory. This is like 100% fact that the main character arsenal, if the most basic thing that every man should essentially own is a Henley T-shirt, like a Henley like long sleeve, just single cotton version of it, because like he has all of these different shirts. They're all the blue button down,
Mhm.
and the one shirt that he chooses when he becomes a hero is
the Henley.
It's just a couple buttons. It is a thin fabric shirt. Now, that is the hero's uniform, and I'm like, if you don't have that in a pair of jeans, like, are you even a dude? Like, it's
Well,
like-
Or a guy.
I'm like, why do
Are you
you
even a
need
guy?
to? Right. Like, like why? And then it just like from there, that was like one of my first realizations. I was like, if you look at every movie, you will see that as the absolute uniform of the main character. Other men will be dressed in different ways. The main character, the hero archetype, the warrior archetype, will be in that Henley. Look it up. It's fact.
You know what I
This
just
podcast brought to you by Henley Shirts.
They're not, it's not a brand name. It's a type.
And it's the brand
speaking of tangents, I just realized
Thinking of Hanes.
Channing Tatum's character is named Revengeman Buttons, and I gotta say that's fucking awesome. I actually really enjoy it. Anyway,
That's funny.
yeah, that's funny. Anyway, so Guy and Millie persuade all the NPCs in the game to join their cause, because they convince them all that they can have extraordinary lives, and like the barista wants to make like changes in the world, but also like a matcha tea, and the stereotypical like blonde hot girl who does nothing wrote like a whole manifesto about like down with the patriarchy and fuck gender roles, which is pretty fucking cool. And like all these things are like starting to happen with these NPCs. They're starting to gain their own levels of sentience, and they convince them all to not respond to Antoine because he's gonna try to use them against against Guy. And they all were like, "Nah, fuck that. We're gonna be our own thing." So that's a scene that happens with a funny throwaway joke of like, "Millie, in the real world, is there X? Is there Y?" And she says no. And then is there gun violence? She's like, "Yes."
This is probably
there's
the
a
best
lot
joke
of
in the
gun
movie.
violence.
Oh, that was
actually.
good.
It's
That
actually
was
a
good.
real problem,
It's
guy.
actually a real problem, Guy.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, he
That was
says,
good.
didn't
I
expect
enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I
it's a big
appreciated
bummer.
that.
How many times do you see
I
a corpse
appreciated
in the
that
street?
greatly.
Never, Guy. Absolutely never. How many times do you have gun violence in the regular day? All the time, actually. It's quite a problem. That was a great fucking joke. Anyway, so they're running away, and Keyes is trying to help them. They're like, and Mauser's trying to fight them on Antoine's behalf. He like tries to crush them between buildings, and Keyes makes a fucking ramp appear out of nowhere. They end up on top of the buildings, and they're running away. And this is when Dude shows up, and he starts fighting with Guy. And Guy gets the upper hand by putting on the glasses, and this is where D's favorite scenes happen.
I think it's
where-
all our favorite scene.
It's all pretty fucking great. So he starts pulling out these items that players have in the game, and he pulls out Captain America's shield and blocks a punch from Dude. And then like there's a great little cameo that D mentioned where Chris Evans is watching in a cafe, and he's like,
Yeah.
"What kind of bullshit is this?"
So
I heard
so
loud
so
laughter
they
in the
they
crowd.
also
I
they
feel
also
like they
queue
could've
up
used
the
F-word for
Avengers.
that moment. Like
They
it could've
also-
just been
Chris
like,
Evans
what
should
the
have been
fuck?
given the F word. Yeah, that
They-
would've been a
that's
F-bomb.
Yes, that's the better F-bomb, 100%. Which makes me feel like they filmed the other one or had the other one in there. I don't know. But like they also queued up the Avengers theme song right
Yeah, there was also
at
the
the
Avengers
exact
music
moment, which makes the scene, which really was spot on to be like, hey, this is a pretty cool. Oh fuck! Now I'm wondering, because this has to be a late this is a late add-on to this movie because they
Right.
didn't have so this makes sense to be like, this is a Disney thing at the end that they allowed in. So what was the original
I
idea
imagine
here? He
the
still has a
original-
shield. maybe he has just a.
Probably, I imagine the original.
Is there
script,
another property shield that's out there that they would have picked?
I imagine the original script. It probably just says like guy uses items to gain the upper hand, and they kind of were.
This
they,
still
they
feels
were,
like a big moment because he's hitting him he's blocking the death punch, right?
Yes, he is blocking the death punch
Or the death punch a thing.
I think it's.
I mean, I got
killing
it immediately,
blow or
but
something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, death blow. That's what it's called. The death blow. And
what game is that from?
It's not, as far as I know.
Oh, okay,
right?
that's what I was wondering. Was that
Troy?
based
You're
on
the
something?
resident fighting game guy. Is death blow really a thing?
No.
No. Okay, cool. So he fights him.
I
off
saw that
with
porno though.
Jesus Christ.
Death blow.
Death blow sounds like a bad drug.
Sounds like a porno from the boys universe.
You have to pronounce it wrong. There's death blow, and then there's death blow.
And then there's death sticks.
And then there's Dead Blow,
And you don't wanna
he's
tell me Death
he's the
Sticks.
But you
Marvel
blow the death
version.
What's the name of the guy who
Dead
sells
Stroke.
death sticks? Sleaze Bagano.
Elon Sleaze Bagano.
That's what it
That's
is.
a real Star Wars character.
Yeah, Sleaze Bagano.
He led to the downfall of the Republic.
Totally did. So eventually, the way that guy defeats dude is by making him wear the glasses, and he gets distracted by all the bright colors and flashing things in the video game world, and he like runs away and starts like jumping up and grabbing coins and shit, and guy's just like, yeah, you go, buddy, you do your thing. And then he just,
No, Buddy's the other guy. This is Dude.
thank you.
Just wanna
Also,
make sure.
dude is wearing like boxers that say game over on the waistband, and you can see it just over the top of his like board shorts that he's wearing. Like, he's such a stereotypical like dude asshole bro, and I fucking love it. So guy runs across the bridge because now he's racing against time, because at this point Antoine is literally destroying the servers with a fire axe, and he's just taking the axe to these servers. This is where Mauser finally has a fucking change of heart and quits after he's already done all this damage and helped Antoine do more. And Millie shows up at the last second as Antoine's destroying the servers, and he's got like one left. And she says, you can keep the code and make your free city too. Just give me that server with the IP on it and what's left of my source code, and we'll walk away from this. And Antoine, of course, takes the fucking deal because he's allowed to keep making his games and keep making money. And Millie gets what she wanted in the end, which is just her source code. And that's all that she ever cared about. And this is the second time in the movie where one of the two of them, Keys and Millie, brings up there are more important things than numbers and money. And apparently there is, because that's all they want is their fucking code.
Apparently there. Did you learn that through this movie?
I don't know if you've lived in this country for more than a day, Troy, but no, money is the most important thing. Take it from a guy who's staring down a lot of medical bills.
Oof.
Yeah. Anywho, so
I'm sorry, I dozed out there for a second, but you guys started talking about money, and that's all I care about. So what did you say?
We started talking about other things, and D just tuned out.
And then we said money, and it was like he was smelling salts. He was like, "What? Huh? What? Money?
Money. So good.
Yeah. So guy makes it to the island. Everything gets
I burn all my money.
Guy makes it to the island, and the whole world kind of cheers for him because Guy did his mission. Yay! Whatever. And then Millie and Keys and Mauser start up their own little studio in his apartment. They're working on I think it's called Free Life, I think they call the new game. But it's essentially like a merging of like the island with Free City. And it's all their AI is in it, fully alive. There's dinosaurs walking around. There's like fucking weird-ass creatures, and everything's overgrown.
Sounds Fortnite.
Kinda. Which that's
Kind of.
another one of the weapons that Guy brings out in the fight is the fucking pinata hammer from Fortnite.
Yeah.
And
He
whacks dude.
has what? He has
He has
He has
Captain
the
America's shield,
he has
Hulk's fist.
He has the lightsaber.
Lightsaber, and then the
portal
Fortnite.
gun.
Yeah, the portal gun has been
Grav
used a couple
gun.
times. Yeah.
They're not, yeah, but they're not actually like
He
the
used that
licensed
portal gun
product.
poorly
Yeah,
at the
it's
one
not-
point,
it's
right?
like,
I feel
an
that was
So,
a
off-brand version.
hang on. So, D, what was your question?
Nothing. I just thought he used the portal gun poorly at one point.
Oh, the portal gun was definitely used poorly, but the portal gun and the grav gun are properties of Valve, and they weren't like exact replicas, but they function the same.
Yeah.
So they didn't
Right,
look.
It's even
right,
like a red,
right.
blue.
Yeah, it was an
portal and
orange-blue
everything. Or-
portal. So
Yeah, orange.
it was like,
Gotcha,
oh, that's clearly
gotcha.
the portal gun, but it's not white and sleek and
Wow.
black. It's this big, chunky looking thing.
Yeah, they
so-
couldn't get the licensing for the 0-point energy manipulator. Which is
Oh,
Yeah.
a graphic
oh,
gun.
cool. Oh, that's what I wanted to hear, Chris.
Yeah, Chris using the
Oh,
big
I'm
fucking
glad
word.
you knew the
when you were
name.
going to bring that
That
up.
doesn't make
I
me
was
want to give you a
wondering.
swirly after this. Everybody hates Chris.
Including myself.
Yep.
Especially.
So Millie's in the game, and she has to have like the final breakup with Guy, and she says this is hard, and then Guy kind of summarizes it, and he was like, "You're a real person who has to live in the real world. You can't live in this game, even though I do, and I'm fully aware of it all, and that's great. However, my code was written by somebody, so it's clearly a love letter to you. So figure out who wrote me, because that guy sure cares about you a heck of a lot." And if you
So
didn't
that
fucking
is a
put-
god.
So if you didn't put 2 and 2 together at this point in the movie, like
Yes,
a
D.
fucking idiot, you get hit over the head with
Oh.
it by Ryan Reynolds literally telling you. And then she goes and watches the video like again just to like hammer it home again. Like yes.
Yeah, that I felt like
obviously
that
he
was
likes you.
unnecessary. Did you not see that? For the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time?
but D,
Um,
the message of this movie is, in fact, yes, there is a God. And
That's what I
effectively,
thought.
it's Ryan
Or,
No,
Reynolds.
but
or
here's,
Ryan Reynolds will smite
here's,
you.
here's listen. When we get to the end
I
of
wouldn't
this
mind that.
eventually, because that movie definitely cascades. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I was fine to hang out there, but I was like, I swear, if you have one more fucking scene in this movie, I'm gonna get upset.
It felt perfect. Not too short, not
It
too
felt not, yeah, I wouldn't say perfect, but it didn't overstay its welcome. But the but they were borderline. But the scene fucking, because we're right at the end here, right?
Yeah,
Are
this
we
is the
there?
end, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The only thing
Finish
left is
Admiral.
Buddy and Guy live happily ever after doing whatever the hell they want.
We have to call them
Okay.
Gutty and Bye.
So here's all I want to say
I've seen that
is
porno.
that scene where they look across each other, across the street, and have their little moment of facial expressions that are supposed to indicate that they understand what they're there for and that they're in love with each other, and whatever they run across the street and make out.
Was anybody expecting them to be hit by a car?
Yes, I really wanted that to happen so
very
bad.
first of all, yes, I was like, this is weird.
They're
They
in a
set up
major
to make me think
metropolitan
that.
area.
Like, go to a crosswalk at
That
least.
was a
Also,
bit-
how did she
yeah, that
happen
was
to
a bit
find the
much.
one coffee shop he went to?
That was
Come on.
that was
Probably
I
the
don't care.
closest one.
Yeah. So the other thing was that this scene, I get how it's written, and I don't want to take anything away from both actors who I think do an alright job. I don't know what kind of acting you would have to do in order to fully sell this scene. I know what they're going for. It's like kind of a real life moment, and it's definitely super like Gen Zer, where it's just like, you know, they have this like, yeah, and
There-
they like
there was a
they kind of
solid-
look down and smirk, and like I felt bad because I'm just like, this is a hard thing to do when you don't have two actors in the same shot to like kind of like exude the emotion or like to like get there realistically. They're just kind of like panning at a camera, and they're just kind of like, it's like looking in a mirror going like looking sultry or looking kind of like bashful, and it's like it's so acting that like you can't do it. But when someone else is there, you can almost feel like you're just like watching that scene play out. And when you have two characters that are supposed to be across the street, and not to say that doesn't happen, like that can't like I get it, people feel like they're closer than they are across the street, but like it's so hard to sell on camera, and I don't know that you can do it when you have unless you just have maybe a director that can shoot it some kind of way to do it. It just didn't work, and it just came off as really goofy to me.
It
I
did come
saw
off
what they were
quite
going
goofy.
for.
I
How did you guys feel about
fully
this? Because
I had a full second in my head where I went, is the end of this movie going to be they run out into the middle of the street, they both get hit by a car, they respawn,
right.
plot twist, this is also a video game.
That would
Right,
have been
no.
crazy.
That
Credits.
100% crossed my mind. That is a great
Did you just
statement.
write how it should have ended for them?
Yeah.
I possibly.
And then we all leave the movie feeling odd.
Also,
And
I will
it
say,
is a great.
pinching each other.
If they look, and I wouldn't even have batted an eye if they had ended the movie that way.
no, I wouldn't have it.
I
And
would
this-
have been like, oh shit.
And that goofy
That's
conversation is mirrored when Guy meets Buddy again in Free City, because it's across the street with cars going, and I'm just like, what?
Also expected them to be hit by a car.
Yeah, and that would have been funnier because they can respawn.
Yeah.
But
Chris's
like,
opinion of this movie is not enough people getting hit by cars.
I mean, that happens a lot in Free City.
Yeah, he does. Get
Actually,
hit,
you know
he
what?
in fact gets hit by a car.
I love
He
that
gets hit
idea.
by a train, too.
I love that idea, Chris. Your one-line review of the movie. Not enough people getting hit by cars. Troy, what's your
And
one-line
I feel like
review?
the new
It's like the new too much water.
yeah. What's your
no
one-line
the
review?
new getting hit suddenly by a car is setting up things to seem like someone's about to get hit by a car and they're not doing that.
My one
so
my
blue
one
balling
sentence
me.
my one
Yeah.
sentence
blue
review
balling.
is just too much gamer.
Too much
Like
game.
the
Yeah.
stereotypical gamer
Yeah.
joke.
My one-line review is not enough cameos. D, what's yours?
Don't do what you're gonna do and overdo it next time because this movie needs less, not more.
Too long.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. They might try to top this in the next movie.
It could have a really bad sequel.
Because this movie is
Yeah.
fine standing on its own, but we all know in this day and age, if it makes money, it's going to get a sequel.
There, the natural progression is to put this into bigger and crazier worlds and more worlds. But I think the much better way to do it is to ground it somewhere much more realistic.
Bring Guy into the real world.
Could be.
And he goes on kooky adventures because he doesn't understand how the real world works.
And he gets hit by a car.
That sounds
I
like
still
every
think you need.
80s movie.
I think you need the craziness, but I think you need to do it isn't Red Dead Redemption much more realistic?
Red Dead Redemption is super realistic to the point where
I
you
think
need
you should do
to
it
feed and clean yourself.
There, where you can still get away with certain things of the other world, but you're really tied down to
What
the
if
real world
you die in the
dynamics.
video game, you die in real life? That
That's
hasn't been
crazy.
done
Did you just
7
make
Get off
that
this
up?
times.
podcast.
Did you just
Bring
make that
Bigfoot
up?
back.
You know what?
Oh, you said
Wait,
the
did you just
magic
think of that?
words.
You know what, Bigfoot? If you can replace Jeff, I will buy you more donuts.
Oh, thank you. I just don't have a steady source of income to pay the rent.
Listen, Biggie. I had to go to the bathroom before, but now I really have to go because this.
could just do what
listen, I told
Bigfoots
you.
do,
I
grab a
told you.
tree.
If when you're scared, okay, it's just. There's a
I never
reason
knew
no one
that
sees
Big
you.
Feet had
It's because
distinct
no
glands.
one. Anytime you're close to anything where you might be scared, the smell is there, and then people just turn away. They've never seen it miles away, and I am right next to you. Okay.
I also always forget that
You
you're
can't
actually
be
blurry.
here right
I keep
now.
thinking
I
I need
love you.
glasses, but then I forget. I remember that you're actually just blurry.
It's a self-defense mechanism to
Yeah.
keep me camouflaged.
Right.
Think about how I feel. I actually wear glasses. This is a mind fuck to me.
Yeah, I understand that.
We've evolved over centuries to look this
My
way.
gosh.
What was your one-word review of Free Guy? Big
Not
Guy?
enough
are you
Bigfoot
guys-
representation in the NPCs.
That's a big problem with all movie industries, isn't it?
Not enough representation.
Yeah.
I don't have any role models
can't-
to
I
look
can't.
to at the
I
silver
gotta go to
screen. Bigfoots enjoy going to the drive-in and
What the hell's going on here? Biggie, what are you doing here?
Oh no, it's
What do you,
Mr.
I told you, no press until. Did he?
I was just going.
The NDAs, Biggie, NDAs. You play ball, you slicky fuck. You blurry fuck. You stinky blurry fuck. You listen to me. If you
Hey, don't-
violate that NDA,
Mr. Hollywood,
all
don't
of
talk
it
to me
down the
like that.
line is cut. It's done. It's over.
No, you can't take away these deals.
Hey.
I didn't say you could fucking talk. Listen, Biggie. Listen, Big. What?
Wait.
What do you want to say, Troy?
I feel like there's a lot of hostility between you and Bigfoot, and I think that we need to tone it down a little. I think we need to. Bigfoot has some good points about not enough representation in Hollywood. You have a
What
good
the
point
fuck is
about
that smell?
Mo-
What the hell is that smell? Did
I'm
somebody scare him? Did somebody? Jesus,
you
how?
You were just
NDA.
yelling at
Oh
him.
my God!
We should go.
We need to fire our security guy.
We have a
This-
security guy?
Yeah.
This is the problem.
My
This is the
cat?
Mr.
Yeah.
Hollywood would just buy our
I'm-
security guy, though.
Yeah, he'd buy him off.
Don't you bring up Hollywood?
And then beat him off.
I'm show business.
Oh, I'm
you don't
so- I-
deserve
I'm
Hollywood.
sorry, you guys sound very similar. I hope that's not a.
He's
They are different
ridiculous. That is Bill Hader. I'm Bill Hater. It's different.
So where's the name Showbiz come in?
It's a
You'll
moniker.
never know, Troy. You'll
It's
never
a moniker,
know.
like Bigfoot. You think that's
I'm
was-
show
that was his
business.
father's
We've never met.
We've never met. Okay, we need to
should
wrap up
finish
this
this
train wreck.
fucking-
So
Yeah,
Good night.
Real-
You're
real-
welcome.
thank you.
real quick, I think I would have liked this movie even more if I didn't come from a technical background, like not knowing programming or any game dev business.
Wait,
You'd be
remember-
happier in general.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I would be a more fulfilled person.
All right. Can we? What do we got on the horizon?
So on the horizon, what do we have,
Or
Troy?
as Troy would call it, the
Marvel What If.
horizon.
Yes, I would. There's Marvel What If,
You got Star Wars Vision, even though D's a bitch.
True that.
I have
True that.
There is.
When does Shang-Chi come out?
So
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is for us
September
would be
3rd.
September-ish.
Okay.
There's
We should
a
make
Mortal
that a
Kombat
Delta
movie.
party.
There's another Mortal Kombat movie.
It's based off of the it's the sequel to the
This is
animated
Mortal
one,
Kombat
Scorpion.
Ultra.
Okay.
There's more What If. We got to do a Bad Batch recap at one point. Dune's coming up in October, and there's more than that.
Jeez.
Nice.
I think we're all very depressed that there's no new Boys yet, or Mando.
I know I am, for sure.
Or, the Boys one is like killing me, man. I'm like, just release the Kripke cut. Like,
For real, come on now.
yes, I am. Yeah, I want to see it. Although I did send you some Boys fun stuff today.
I did see that. That was really, really funny. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
you've really through text been acting like the Boys is still
Oh,
currently
guys,
around right now.
Guys, I don't know what we're
You're
doing.
like
WWE SummerSlam happens August 21st.
Oh.
Oh my
We should end the
God, who
podcast.
the hell cares?
The Witcher,
I am
Nightmare
excited
of the
for
Wolf, 23rd.
We should end the podcast.
Jeff, fucking
Shang-Chi.
thank some people.
I would like to thank my partners here, Troy Brittingham,
I'm his partner.
in love. Also,
Yes.
Chris Carroll's here.
We are fielding recruitments for new security people. Please submit your resume. If you have experience keeping out Big Feet or Bill haters, then that'll be a big plus.
But not Bill Hader. To be clear,
Yeah, we want Bill
if Bill
Hader.
Hader comes on, we'll have him.
D
Yes,
is here as well. Thank you, D.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for finally ending this. Jeffrey Ackerman, everybody.
Yeah, Jeffrey Ackerman. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Boo.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank you all for listening. If you want to yell at us or say something, you can email
or
us.
praise us.
Or
We
praise
need
us.
constant praise.
I'm very insecure. You can email us at tbandjpodcast@gmail.com.
Stop it. Get some help.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.